I like that headline, by the way. Well done, Scotty Swingler. Are the Thunder playing in dynasty mode? I mean, there's a potential. You know what, Scotty? We're going to do this now. Sorry, pal. We're going to do it now. Okay? Because I want to do this before Chris, because I want to ask Chris about it. And Chris can wait like a minute or two. All right? But this morning, I was thinking about this. As I get ready, because we do, right? We get ready for these shows and we can't wait. And I have my list here, okay, as to why the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is according to me, why it's very possible they could be a dynasty. Number one, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yes, he is a superstar. And I think last night we saw one of the reasons that there's sustainability here. His ability to defer to teammates, right? And again, we know he's a superstar. Now we're playing for a dynasty. We're trying to put together one of the best teams and best runs in NBA history, okay? Now, to do that, you have to have a superstar who's a badass, who knows when to take control down the stretch, as we've seen, right, throughout this playoffs. Look no further than Friday night when he snatched a victory out of the jaws of defeat on the road at Indiana, giving his team the momentum heading into Game 5, where they just took care of business last night. He scores 31. Jalen Williams has 40. Another thing about SGA is he's just an amazing dude. And I want you to stay with us because, like I mentioned, Chris Williams talked to his dad, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And Chris is coming up in our next segment to talk to us about that interview, but to give also a little bit of a behind-the-curtain look as to why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is wired the way he is, right? And when you're wired like that, you've got next level off the court stuff that you bring on the court that can elevate the rest of the team. So they have the right guy in charge on the floor that could quite possibly lead this team to a dynasty. Second, and this is a big one, defense wins championships. No, I am not Nico Harrison. It's unfortunate that Scotty worded it that way. I know exactly what he's trying to do. He's still a prick, even when he's not in the same room as I am. Here's what I mean, okay? And this will play into some of my next points. Don't freak out, but the 1997-98 Chicago Bulls, okay? That defense that they had, okay, Ron Harper. You think about Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, right? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And they were so deep. They had guys coming off the bench. But the bottom line was that their defense, everybody talked about MJ and everybody talked about Pippen, right? But Pippen, I forgot to mention Pippen. Yeah, Bear the Truth likes this because we're talking about the Bulls. But really, they not only had their, like 4 out of their starting 5 was lockdown. I mean, you had Luke Longley, who was serviceable, right? But they were also so deep. Like, they went deep onto the bench. I mean, I'm trying to think, like Randy Brown's a good example. Like, they had guys that could come in and lock you down for like 10, 15 minutes. It's the same thing when you watch the Oklahoma City Thunder and you see different guys coming off the bench into the game. You're like, man, you know, here comes Caruso. Like, that guy can score and he can lock down. So that is something that I think that they can sustain, right? They play great team defense and they have exceptional individual defenders. Those two things with a young team and a strong core, because defense is all about chemistry, right? And they have that. We know that, but they also have the phenomenal skill set. All right, let's get to number 3, and that is what's that? Oh, no, sorry, that's 4. Jalen Williams. Okay, he is a star too. Now, I believe that Jalen Williams, there's something that happened this past offseason with Jalen Williams that I think is exciting, and this leads into my point. Now, we mentioned the 40 points last night. A lot of people, I hate to stick with the Bull stuff, but, you know, I hate to stick with the Bull stuff, but if you think about Jalen Williams, you keep hearing the Scottie Pippen comparison, okay? I think that is like a little bit of prisoner of the moment, a little bit of a reach, but I also think that it sort of plays into the possibilities. Remember, this isn't a guarantee. I just told you I can't get out of an NBA Finals making a correct bet, but this is a possibility, and this is all the stars aligning for this to quite possibly happen. Jalen Williams, he got better this past offseason. The book on Jalen Williams was make him go right. He can't go right. He can't go right. Well, this season, guess what? He can go right. He can go left. He can go around you. He can go over you. And 3 of 5 last night shooting from 3. He's been efficient from deep. Amazing athlete. The will to get better. And he has shown us that he can get better. And he will continue to get better. And a guy like that makes jumps when you're in the NBA, in a situation like this, understanding his role, that is a very good sign for a team, right? To have a second guy that not only has outstanding talent and moxie and understanding of the game, but also knows that he needs to get better. And a lot of times in this league, some guys can come in and get almost as they're baked already, right? And they don't get much better regardless of what they have natural skill-wise. So Jaylen Williams is going to be a huge part of this run, okay? Number 4, Sam Presti. This is my favorite one, okay? Elite move making. And here is the big thing about Sam Presti. You say, hey, Pete, what about 2012, right? That team that lost the NBA Finals to the Heat. Everybody thought that was going to be a dynasty. Unfortunately, Sam Presti made a mistake. He took Serge Ibaka and maybe Kendrick Perkins over James Harden. Now, there's also a lot of evidence that would speak to the fact that James Harden kind of wanted to go his own direction and do his own thing. Surprise, surprise. Now, I mean, I think we believe that. Not that he's like totally selfish, but James Harden's scoring machine. He probably wanted to go put up fireworks, right? He was a 6th man on that squad. Or produce fireworks, I should say, generate fireworks for all the word sleuths out there. But Sam Presti made a mistake, okay? He will not make a mistake like that again. And he's going to come, and by the way, he's going to have to get busy because in a year or two, I think it's not this year, but after next season, there will be some decisions that Sam Presti and the Thunder front office have to make. And they'll have to make sure that they can retain some of this depth, right, defensively. They will have to make sure that they can keep some of these stars and do it the right way. Again, you'll have to make tough decisions. And some of the tough decisions they'll have to make will be around the depth we talked about. This defense is so good. They have to keep that. There's magic in going 7 or 8 deep defensively. So that is another thing. Sam Presti understanding the mistakes he made in the past, okay? Again, you decide you pick Serge Ibaka or Kendrick Perkins over James Harden. That's a tough lesson to learn. But also, again, like I said earlier, I think James Harden wanted out of there anyways. And there's a lot of coverage that will back that up. But that situation was what it was. And you live and you learn from it. And with the NBA and the second apron, there will be more opportunities for a guy like Sam Presti to flex his muscles and to show just how good of an executive he is in keeping this team together. And by the way, it seems like they want to stay together. And that's a huge reason. And we're going to chat with Chris Williams about some of that chemistry coming up here in a moment. All right, number 5. Let's wrap this up, Scotty. There you go. The captain, Mark Daigneault. And this is a guy who hasn't gotten much credit at all. And for me in particular, because I am old school. And Rick Carlisle has been in my life for a very long time. And we've seen some of the changes that Rick Carlisle has made throughout this playoff run that have really helped his team, right? Have catapulted them to a situation like the NBA Finals. I think we've talked a little too much about Rick Carlisle and not about Mark Daigneault. When you think about, you can go all the way back. Again, I heard Doc Rivers say this, okay? Doc talked about when they won the Commissioner's Cup and they beat the Thunder, okay? Then this is seems like forever ago. But he said, look, we knew we were just going to get physical and we were going to wear those guys out physically and they weren't going to be able to beat us. And he said, and that's what we did. And he said, after the game, he heard Mark Daigneault say, hey, this is a lesson for us. It's an opportunity for us to get better as a team, play more physical basketball, right? Clearly, down the second half of the season, I mean, this is one of the best teams and best seasons we have seen in some time. They found a way to beat everybody. and they found a way to beat you with so many different ways, and you could no longer overwhelm the Thunder with strength or veteran leadership or guys that could throw you around the paint. Like, they adjusted to that. And that's got a lot to do with Mark Daigneault. Also, his substitution patterns as the finals have gone on, I felt like, and this was the idiot in me, I was like, oh, wow, Rick Carlisle, the Pacers have figured something out. The pacing of the game is going to wear SGA out, and that's how they're going to win. Dude, that's a simpleton like me, right? That was a game 3 situation where Rick Carlisle made a shrewd move, and Mark Daigneault was able to totally adjust to that, right? And you see now down the stretch, these guys are fresh. They just are, and that's different. That speaks to his ability to coach in critical moments. So I feel like he not only has a team that he's kept together and has kept so unselfish, but he's also shown us wrinkles in his ability to be a coach and to make the right decision on the biggest stages. Now, if they lose the next 2 games, we're going to delete this off of YouTube. It will never exist anymore. Okay? But for right now, it looks pretty good. The Pete Souza Show presented by Slovacic's coming back. We're going to talk to an expert, an actual expert, a guy who was there, right? Chris Williams, good friend of mine, coming back. Channel 9 in Oklahoma City. Don't go anywhere.